guys, welcome to my channel. So guess what came out today? Chad's supposedly sealed affidavit. So I am going to read it for you guys. Wow, it's pretty disturbing, and it's pretty much what we thought with Alex and stuff. Okay, I'll just read it to you guys here real quick. Maybe give a little bit of my thoughts at the end, and then maybe we could discuss it in the live at the beginning of the week. Okay, so County of Madison, Lieutenant Ron Ball of the Rexburg Police Department, being first duly sworn under oath, depose and state as follows. The information contained herein is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. I am a detective with the Rexburg Police Department and have been employed in law enforcement for more than 27 years. I am currently the lieutenant over investigations for the Rexburg Police Department. I currently hold an advanced certificate and a management certificate from the Idaho Peace Officer Standards and Training Academy and have over 2,500 hours of training. I have attended multiple trainings and classes throughout my career, including graduating from the FBI National Academy in 2015. I have received multiple hours of specialized training and investigations. I have also conducted numerous investigations and interviews with suspects, victims, and witnesses involving narcotics, sex crimes, and fraud. I have also received numerous hours of training on traffic stops and detection of criminal behavior. I respectfully ask the court to take notice of the PC affidavit in Madison County case number CR 33200302, a copy of which has been attached. Since November 26, 2019, the Rexburg Police Department has been involved in the search for J.J. Vallow, date of birth 5/25/12, and Tylee Ryan, date of birth 9/24/2002. The minor children's mother, Lori Vallow, has been charged with 2 felony counts of desertion of a minor child, 1 misdemeanor count of resisting and obstructing, 1 misdemeanor count of solicitation to commit a crime, and 1 misdemeanor count of contempt. The contempt charge is for failing to comply with an order in a child protection action in Madison County, Idaho, to produce JJ and Tylee to the Rexburg Police or the Department of Health and Welfare. She was required to produce the children by January 30th, 2020. Tylee was 17 at the time she went missing, and JJ was 7 when he went missing. Chad Daybell was present in Kauai, Hawaii on February 20th, 2020, when Lori Vallow was arrested on the felony desertion charges. I was present at that arrest. Daybell was also present at the March 6th initial appearance in Madison County, Idaho. As such, I know that Chad Daybell was aware of felony charges directly related to the location, health, and well-being of the minor children named above. Since November 26, 2019, the Rexburg Police Department, along with the FBI, have been investigating the location and whereabouts of these 2 minor children. The last verifiable sighting of Tylee was on September 8, 2019 in Yellowstone National Park. The last verifiable sighting of J.J. Vallow was September 22, 2019 in his mother's apartment located at 565 Pioneer Road, number 175, Rexburg, Idaho, by Lori's friend, Melanie Gibb. While the Rexburg Police and FBI have received many tips of alleged sightings since the beginning of the case, none of these tips have led to any verifiable or actionable information regarding the health, safety, or location of the minor children. Lori Vallow moved to Rexburg on or about September 1st, 2019 with her children, Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow, and her brother Alex Cox. Lori resided with her children at 565 Pioneer Road, Unit 175, Rexburg, Idaho. Alex resided in the same complex, initially living in the same unit as Lori and then moving into his own unit at 565 Pioneer Road, Unit 107, Rexburg, Idaho. Lori Vallow's close friend, Melanie Gibb, has cooperated with Idaho and Arizona law enforcement regarding the investigation of the children. Melanie Gibb has reported that from September 19, 2019 through the morning of September 23, 2019, she visited Lori Vallow at her new residence in Rexburg, Idaho. Gibbs reported that when she arrived in Rexburg, Lori Vallow informed her that JJ had become a zombie. Gibb further reports that the term zombie refers to an individual whose mortal spirit has left their body and that their body is now the host of another spirit. The new spirit in a zombie is always considered a dark spirit. While the dark spirit inhabits the host body, the person's true spirit goes into limbo and is stuck there until the host body is physically killed. As such, death of the physical body is seen as the mechanism by which the body's original spirit can be released from limbo. This belief was told to Gibb by Lori Vallow. Lori Vallow had learned it from Chad Daybell and immediately told Gibb. Gibb was present with Lori Vallow when Chad Daybell first taught Lori this information over the phone in early 2019 in reference to Charles Vallow. Melanie Gibb has further informed me that Lori Vallow called Tylee a zombie in the spring of 2019. Gibb was on the phone with Lori and heard Lori call Tylee a zombie, to which Tylee responded, "Not me, Mom." This arose out of Lori requiring Tylee to babysit JJ, and Tylee did not want to. Lori Vallow also told Gibb that Tylee had turned into a zombie when she was 12 or 13. Which was approximately the same time Tylee had become difficult to deal with. Melanie Gibb has further informed me that she was told by Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow that they had the religious belief that they were part of the Church of the Firstborn, and their mission in that church was to lead the 144,000 mentioned in the Book of Revelation. That also stated their mission was to rid the world of zombies. On January 26, 2020, a search warrant was served on Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow in Kauai, where they were living and on their vehicle. The children were not found with Chad and Lori in Hawaii, and no evidence was found to suggest they were living with Chad and Lori. Through this investigation, we have discovered that JJ Vallow was registered at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg the first week of September 2019. Kennedy School was informed that JJ had an individual education plan due to his autism. Kennedy Elementary was in the process of creating a new IEP for JJ. On September 23, 2019, JJ had an excused absence. On September 24, 2020, Lori Vallow called Vicki Barton of the Madison School District and informed her that JJ was going to Louisiana with his grandparents and wouldn't be home until the end of October and maybe later. On October 29th, Madison School District was informed that JJ would be homeschooled. During searches of Lori's apartment in Rexburg and subsequent searches of her apartment in Kauai, no evidence of homeschooling material was ever found. No other school district has ever requested JJ's records from the Madison School District. As mentioned, the last verifiable sighting of Tylee Ryan was in Yellowstone National Park on September 8, 2019. Photographs established she was there with her mother Lori Vallow, her brother JJ Vallow, and her uncle Alex Cox. They drove there in Alex's silver Ford F-150. This trip was further established by tracking the GPS, cell tower connections, and Google account information on Alex's phone. The Cell Analysis Survey Team, hereinafter CAST, is an FBI unit that provides analysis of cell phone records and presents the information to law enforcement. CAST has analyzed Alex Cox's phone and provided the location information mentioned in paragraph 13. The CAST analysis provides the location of Cox's phone. Due to my training and experience and common knowledge, I am aware that most individuals now keep their cell phones with them at all times, and the location of an individual's phone can be used to establish the location of the owner of the phone. CAST uses a cellular device's GPS data points, cell tower connections, Wi-Fi connections, and Google tracking information to establish the location of the cell phone. The GPS data points used by CAST are considered to be highly accurate and can place the device within a 6-meter radius. CAST has further informed law enforcement that Cox's phone exited the west entrance of the Yellowstone National Park at 1840. His phone appeared to be at Buckaroo's Barbecue Grill in West Yellowstone, Montana from 1845 to 1902. Cox then returns to Rexburg at approximately 2037. The phone is then at Lori's apartment number 175 until 2135, at which time Cox appeared to go to the Maverick on Main Street in Rexburg at 2143 until 2153. Cox then went back to Lori's apartment from 2244 to 2315. At 2344, Cox is located at his residence in apartment 107. On Monday, September 9th, from 12 a.m. to 12:45 a.m., Cox's phone was located at his apartment 107. However, at 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m., Cox is located again at Lori's apartment 175, where Lori lived with Tylee and JJ. This is significant not only because he is there in the middle of the night, but also because this is the only time in September he appears to go over to Lori's between midnight and 6 a.m. At 4:37 a.m., Alex went back to his own apartment, unit 107, until 8:59 a.m. At 9:21 a.m., he was located at the property with the address 202 North 1900 East Rexburg, which is the residence of Chad Daybell. It should be noted that while Chad Daybell's address is listed as Rexburg, it is actually located in Fremont County, Idaho. The 921 reading is a GPS data point and places him behind the home on Chad Daybell's property near the east end of the barn. Alex Cox's phone, it was still at the Daybell's residence at 10:39 a.m. At 10:47 a.m., his phone shows a hit at the city of St. Anthony. At this time, we are unable to tell if he was actually inside the city limits of St. Anthony. St. Anthony is about a 5-minute drive from the Daybell residence, or if this was a cell tower ping on his phone while he he was still at the Daybell residence. At 10:57 a.m. to 11:39 a.m., Cox is located at the Daybell property. At 11:52 a.m. to 12:02 p.m., he was at Del Taco in Rexburg. He appears to spend most of the rest of the day in his apartment. Through this investigation, the Rexburg Police Department and FBI has seized, searched, and analyzed multiple cell devices pursuant to several warrants. On June 1st, 2020, I was informed by Special Agent Ricky Wright of the FBI that the FBI had been examining a phone believed to be owned by Tammy Daybell. Tammy was Chad's wife and died on October 19, 2019. The FBI found a text conversation between Tammy and her husband Chad Daybell on September 9th, 2019, which is the day after the last known sighting of Tylee Ryan in the Yellowstone National Park. The text conversation reads as follows. Chad to Tammy at 11:53 a.m. Well, I've had an interesting morning. I felt I should burn all of the limb debris by the fire pit before it got too soaked by the coming storms. While I did so, I spotted a big raccoon along the fence. I hurried and got my gun, and he was still walking along. I got close enough that one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times. Chad to Tammy at 11:56. Gonna shower now and then go right for a while at BYU. Love you. Tammy to Chad at 2:47 p.m. Good for you. Chad to Tammy at 2:48 p.m. I'm back home now. I found the text suspicious because raccoons are normally nocturnal animals and are not regularly out during the day. It should be noted that from interviewing neighbors of Chad Daybell, we are aware that in mid-July of 2019, Garth Daybell, Chad's son, told their neighbors that Chad had shot a raccoon out of a tree on their property during the day. Those neighbors are named Matt and Regan Price. Garth told Matt Price about the raccoon in response to a question from Matt about hearing a gunshot. The Prices informed me that the fire pit in the back of Daybell's property was hardly ever used until the last few months. Regan informed me that there appeared to be frequent bonfires in the pit on Daybell property over the last few months, and the first one she noticed was soon after Tammy's death on October 19, 2019. On June 2, 2020, Detective Bruce Mattingly of the Fremont County Sheriff's Office contacted Samantha Williams, who is the sister of Tammy Daybell. He asked her if she was aware of a pet cemetery on Chad and Tammy Daybell's property in Idaho. She informed him that she was aware of the pet cemetery and stated that both she and Tammy were pet people and that they had both had pet cemeteries. When asked the location of the pet cemetery on the Daybell property, she stated that it was east of the Red Barn and near the fire pit. On June 4, 2020, I spoke with Samantha and she informed me that she was aware of the location of the pet cemetery on the Daybell property because Tammy had shown it to her. Samantha was then shown an aerial photograph of the Daybell property and she pointed to the same area near the fire pit where Alex's phone pinged on September 9, 2019. The above facts established that Alex Cox appeared to be at the Daybell property on September 9, 2019 until at least 11:39. Chad sent the text to Tammy about burning debris and shooting and burying the raccoon in the pet cemetery only 14 minutes later at 11:53. The pet cemetery referenced by Chad Daybell is located at the same location as most of the pings on Alex's phone on September 9, 2019. On June 3, 2020, I interviewed Melanie Gibb and her boyfriend David Warwick in Pleasant Grove, Utah. We discussed in depth the weekend of September 22nd and 23rd, 2019, due to the fact that both Gibb and Warwick stayed at Lori Vallow's residence in Rexburg that weekend. Gibb informed me, consistent with information she has previously given to law enforcement, that she arrived in Rexburg on September 19, 2019. Soon after she arrived, Lori Vallow informed Gibb that JJ had become a zombie and pointed out behaviors such as sitting still and watching TV, claiming JJ said he loved Satan, and an increased vocabulary as evidence that JJ was now a zombie. Gibb observed JJ's behavior and felt it to be the same as she had always observed it. The last time Gibb and Warwick verifiably saw JJ was the night of September 22nd, 2019. Warwick informed us that it was late and that Gibb, Vallow, and Warwick were going to do a podcast. Warwick said that JJ was acting up, and so Alex took JJ to his apartment in the complex. When Alex returned later that night, he was carrying JJ, who appeared to be asleep with his head on Alex's shoulder. Warwick specifically remembered this because he saw it as a tender moment. Warwick further informed us that when he woke up the morning of September 23, 2019, he asked Lori where JJ was. This was between 8 and 9 a.m. Lori informed Warwick and Gibb that JJ had been acting like a zombie and he had been crawling on the kitchen cabinetry and had gotten on top of the cabinetry in the space between the cabinetry and the ceiling. She informed Warwick and Gibb that when JJ had climbed upon upon the cabinetry that he had knocked a picture of Jesus off the refrigerator. Vallow then informed Warwick and Gibb that Alex had come and taken JJ. The FBI CAS team has analyzed Alex Cox's movements the morning of September 23, 2019 by his cell phone GPS. At 9:55 a.m., Alex is again on Chad Daybell's property. He was there until 10:12. The pings on his phone locate Alex near the pond on Chad's property at the northern edge of his property. On June 3, 2020, I asked Special Agent Ricky Wright of the FBI to analyze the frequency of Alex Cox's visits to the Daybell's property during the month of September 2019. His response was, "Per your request, I checked the visits by Alex in Chad's house again. There were only 4 visits by Alex during the month of September. These were on 9/6, 12:41 to 12:53, 9/9, 9/23, and 9/25, 10:05 to 10:22. During the 2 visits on 9/6 and 9/25, all the pings were in and around the house, and there were no pings anywhere in the backyard near the fire pit or pond. As you can see, these visits were also short, about 11 minutes and 17 minutes, like the one on 9/23, 17 minutes. The visit on 9/9 was the only long visit, approximately 2.5 hours. On June 9, 2020, a search warrant was executed at Chad Daybell's residence and property. With the assistance of a local FBI ERT team, we located at least multiple sites of interest. These sites were identified and corresponded to the cell data of Alex Cox's phone when he was on the property, mentioned in paragraphs 12 through 16. Additionally, one of the possible sites correlated to a location on the property Chad had texted his wife about, mentioned in paragraphs 17 and 18. The first site of interest was located on the north side of the pond near the north edge of the property. This site corresponded with the 2 GPS pings from Alex Cox's phone on September 23, 2019. A patch of ground was located that appeared to be disturbed. The weed growth on top of the disturbed ground was shorter than the surrounded weed growth. What appeared to be sod etching was also noticed. This disturbed area was approximately 4 feet by 2.5 feet. Members of the FBI ERT team removed the top layer of sod. Underneath the layer of sod were several large flat rocks. The rocks were removed and 2 pieces of flat paneling were found. The paneling was removed and the investigators exposed a round object covered in black plastic. Upon exposing the round object covered in black plastic, a strong odor was noticed. A FBI ERT member used a small, sharp instrument and made a small incision in the plastic, and a layer of white plastic was observed. An incision was made into the white layer of plastic, exposing what appeared to be human remains, the crown of a head covered in light brown hair. The remaining dirt around this object was methodically removed, exposing what appeared to be a body wrapped in black plastic. The plastic appeared to be tightly wrapped around the body and secured with gray duct tape. Cheryl Anderson, Associate Professor of Anthropology at Boise State University, was present on scene and advised the remains found near the pond appeared to be human. A second site of interest was located behind a red, unattached outbuilding located roughly in the center of the property near a fire pit. Next to the fire pit is an area used as a pet cemetery. This site correlated to several GPS pings of Alex's phone on September 9, 2019. Ground in this area was probed with a steel pole, and several areas of disturbed ground were located. During a search of this ground, a buried cat and dog remains were found. A backhoe was used to dig further layers of dirt. While doing this, bricks were located approximately a foot below the ground. Once the bricks were discovered, the soil was examined and what happened to be 2 bones were located. Based on the condition of the bones, Cheryl Anderson was not able to determine whether the bones were human. Methodically, the dirt in this area was searched and several other items of interest were found, including other bones, charred tissue, and charred bones. Cheryl Anderson indicated these additional bones, both charred and uncharred, and tissue found were human remains. Investigators provided photos of some of the partial remains that were found at the pet cemetery to Sarah Getz, PhD, a forensic anthropologist. Dr. Getz was able to identify those remains as being non-adult human remains. While officers were conducting their search, Chad Daybell was observed by officers to be continuously watching where the officers were searching. He was observed watching officers while sitting in his vehicle in his front driveway and while sitting in his vehicle across the street at his daughter's residence. Around the time the head mentioned in paragraphs 32 and 33 was discovered, Chad Daybell was observed leaving his daughter's residence in a gray SUV. I and other officers pursued him in police vehicles, conducted a traffic stop, and detained him due to the fact that human remains were discovered on his property. So, dated June 10th, 2020, Lieutenant Ron Ball. Wow, okay, so, whew, oh my god, I don't even know what to say. I might do a separate video or do a live chat to discuss this, because I just got this affidavit, like, probably about an hour ago, basically, and I just have to let it, wow. I guess we were right, Alex was a part of it, like we all thought, and those dates were right on of the last. I mean, I think they did an excellent job investigating, because their dates that they had last seen were exactly the dates. So that was from all investigating, talking to witnesses and stuff, and then how they were able to find exactly where they were with the GPS and everything. Like, I mean, good investigating right there, but so sad. Oh my gosh. So far as charred, I mean, when would he have burned it? Because if they buried her that same day, then when would they have time to burn her? Because I don't know. I'm just trying to get a timeline. I know it's weird talking about these disturbing things like this, but if Alex left in the morning, he probably helped, I guess, with the killing, and then he left because his GPS, so he was gone by the afternoon that day. I'm talking about with Tylee first. So then if they did burn her then it would have been after Alex left, right? Because they wouldn't have had time. It just doesn't seem like 2.5 hours is long enough to burn and bury. But, I guess it doesn't mean Alex was there for the whole thing, I guess. So maybe he was there only a part of the time, and then I'm thinking maybe he was the one that shot Tylee. If Tylee was shot, maybe they made him do it. So if she was shot, I bet you they shot her in the barn. If that's how it happened, they probably did it in the barn, maybe. What do you guys think? And then he helped Chad dig the grave, maybe. That bonfire, they said, was at the bonfires that the neighbors remember, they said was after Tammy died. So did they dig Tylee up and burn her? That's what I'm confused. Or did they do it before they buried her the first time on September 9th? So I don't know. I guess we'll find out when the trial happens, or maybe we won't find out, because I don't know if they're not going to be able to tell unless if Chad or somebody talks, because how are they going to be able to tell exactly how it happened as far as that goes? I don't think they would necessarily, unless if somebody talks, but I guess we'll see. Like I said, I just gotta let it sink in and go over it again and really, I don't even know, it's hard. Wow. And then why didn't I realize? Because when Melanie Gibb did that interview, she didn't give us the exact dates when she was visiting Lori. And when I read Annie Cushing's statement yesterday, I realized this, and now this affidavit confirms it, that she was there basically probably the night that they killed JJ. I didn't realize it was that day because she never gave the exact dates. So she possibly was there that night, it sounds like. Maybe they poisoned him or something, because when Warwick was talking about how Alex had him and he was resting his head on his shoulder, what if they gave him something to, like some kind of poison, and he was actually, I don't know, that's when they killed him? Or, I mean, if not that night, it was sometime late that night or early that morning, because then they were back in the yard on the next day burying him or whatever they did. So yeah, basically I didn't realize Melanie was there that night. I did not. Wow, that just puts a whole new perspective. And another thing I didn't realize is that her boyfriend was with her. She never mentioned that. So there's just some things I did read Annie's statement, and she did request not to share it, so I'm not going to share it, but there are some things that she pointed out that I did want to talk about that I didn't realize. Some of these facts of the case that I didn't know, and a lot of this affidavit touched on a lot of that stuff, but there are some other things that weren't mentioned in the affidavit that she brought up that I would like to maybe discuss in a live sometime. So the statement was amazing. Now I know why you guys wanted me to read it, because it did open my eyes to some things, and it actually gave me a whole different perspective on Melanie Gibb, which I guess I was naive and I always have an issue of seeing the good in everybody and give everybody the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, well, it's because of this, and giving people excuses, and I just been like that my whole life, and it's probably why it's led to a lot of bad experiences, maybe a lot of people screwing me over, because I always feel like that I see the good in everybody and give them a benefit of the doubt. I give them an excuse all the time, so maybe that's why. But then reading Annie's statement, it kind of opened my eyes, like, wait a minute, wow, so I didn't know some of these details. But anyway, like I said, let's discuss this in the chat, guys, because so much to talk about. I want to get this out to you guys, so I'm gonna go edit it, and hopefully you guys all have a good night after you listen to this and read it. Maybe just take a break from all this, go spend time with your family, and just take your mind off of it, because this is some heavy stuff. It really is, and you shouldn't be going to bed thinking about it every night. So, all right, guys, try to have a good night. Bye.